Time for our June plant update, and what we are looking at right now is a gorgeous cyclamen, or cyclamen depending on how you say it, but look at the blooms on that. Are those not just gorgeous? Just beautiful. The leaves, however, are a little sparse down there, and it's because when I brought it home, I think they were overwatering it at the big box store, and a lot of them turned yellow. So I'm letting her completely dry out. I've only watered her once, and that's barely. All right, so now let's look at our wall right here. So what we have here is one of the Tradescantia, which one was this? The spiderwort that I took a little piece of and put in this planter. And above that is one of the barnacle style Sansevierias. So, and I do see that one of them is kind of dying off, so I'll probably just cut it off and see if it recovers. And if not, I can always just take the whole thing off, but it does have some babies coming, so that's good. All right, and then over here we have the anthurium that is still putting up some new growth. And then over here we have a plant that I got for Mother's Day. It came in this little teapot thing, and it did have another plant that came with it, but it died off, and I think it's because they had two different watering needs. One was more of a succulent type that didn't require as much water as this one. So the succulent type died off, and I have not watered this since I got it. That's how wet it was. And then over here we have our Tadia blush that has the pretty purple flowers with the nice little white lip. I'll post a picture. Over here we have our Oncidium division that is working on 3 new growths there. Next to her, well, that table next to them, this is our Pinot Princess Scary that we will do a separate video on with the rest of the Brookside family that came with her. And back here we have I believe it is a Dipladenia, that is getting ready to bloom. And then my poor little succulent, it is just, I don't know what it wants to do. It's just kind of died off, and now it's just making all these little babies, and I'm just going to let her do what she needs to do. But this is one of the graptosedums, and then that's a graptosedum right there, the larger one as well. And then here we have our Peperomia Frost that was recently divided and repotted, and it does have this nice flower, if that's what you want to call it, but you know, it's flowering. That means she's fully recovered and she's happy in the spot. Then I have my little string bean plant here. I'll put the official name on the screen, of course, but it is doing really well in this spot. And then we have our Pilea peperomides that is just exploding with growth, as well as exploding with all kinds of new pups down in there. We've got us an Aloe Vera here. And then over here, let's see, right here I've got an Echeveria, what is that, a shavina that is getting ready to open her blooms. And then we still just have that little one down there that I don't know what that is, but it is continuing to grow. And then we have the jade that is loving life. And on the bench here we have our Morgan that was recently cut off and then repotted, and I noticed today that she is working on a new leaf, so that's exciting. I have a jade Pothos and a Syndapsis cuttings in here. It's just some pebbles with some just plain water, and I change that water out every 2 to 3 days just to keep it fresh. Over here we have a Tradescantia Zebrina cutting, along with, I think this has these the red in there as well. And this one here, one of these two have 2 different ones in there, but they're so similar it's hard to really tell until you pick up the leaves. We have the Paphiopedilum Mele Star that I cut the spike off, and she's continuing to work on that leaf right there. May or may not bloom because these things grow so slow, we may not know for months. Here is another one of my Brookside Orchids. This is the Oncidium catatante Orange Kiss that is just going haywire with her growth. Again, we'll do a separate video on them. Have my Bromeliad here that is just continually putting out beautiful leaves. I love these 2 on the side here that have really matured, as well as these right here. So that is a good thing. And here I have my red stripes NOID Paphiopedilum phalaenopsis that I put into Leca a couple of weeks ago. So far, so good. She's not rejected it so far. I have been flushing her regularly and then giving her feed every third flushing, so she seems to be okay. That spike that she had is still there. It's not moved any, and that's fine as long as she's not going downhill, right? That's always a good thing. So we've already looked at the corner, but I will just give you a brief overview here. And I'll put a link to that video above. And Soft Clouds is still just being gorgeous. All right, so let's move into the window. I'm gonna close the shade real quick and then we'll look at what's in the window. So here we have our jade Pothos that is she's just gorgeous. Like, I got her from work. I cut her from the one we have at work. She was a 2-leaf cutting when I got her, and now look at her. And that was about 6 months ago. And then here in front of me, we have a Tradescantia Zebrina that I repotted maybe a month ago, and she is just leggy, and I'm gonna cut some of these off and put them back into the top. I keep turning her around so that I can see these beautiful, beautiful leaves, and she just keeps, no, I wanna look out the window. So I turn her about every 2 to 3 days, along with her partner in crime over here. And I love the way this one is taken off, especially on this side. It's a lot fuller looking to me than the other one. And over here, I have my string of bananas that has a string that is trying to get out the window. There we go, let me move her over, there we go. And what I like about these is that, see how it branches off? I didn't realize it did that. So these, I moved her to the top of the chain hold just because she's getting so long. Look how long she's getting. And she's just got branches all over the place, just gorgeous. And then this here, I think I'm just gonna get rid of my Nepenthes. It doesn't like my home, it's not doing well, or maybe I'll try it in a different location. Maybe that's what I need to do. If you guys have any idea on how I can grow this in my house, I know they require more humidity than what I can give them, but if you have any suggestions on how I can create a little more humidity around her or him, then that would be very much appreciated. Just leave that in the comments below. And here I have my cucullata, Brassavola cucullata. I know it's hard to see with the shade, but there's such a glare out there. But this growth right here is her latest growth, and it is just really taken off. All right, so I'm gonna get off this chair and then we will continue. So let's take a look at the African violets. So first we have big little mama here. She is the one that has the lavender flowers on it, just absolutely gorgeous. And of course the flowers can be a deep lavender, a light lavender, a combination of both. And then over there we have my little supervisor, that's Mr. Loki. He's always hanging around when I'm doing my plant stuff, making sure I'm doing it correctly. Hey Loki. Loki. Hi, look at that pretty boy. Isn't he pretty? All right, back to the plants. And then next to her, we have, I've called this one, now what am I calling this one? Let's see. I named this one Purple Lace. And it's because of the little purple edging around it, and it kind of has a semi-lace look to it. But those, I did clip her back a little bit because her blooms were going over, and I think I might go ahead and cut the flower spikes off and give her a little rest so she can give me another show. Then this is one of the propagations that I did from some begonias that, not begonias, African violets that kind of have gone and moved on to, you know, a better place, plant heaven. And this one here I think is the closest to possibly blooming in the next few months. And then these two here, I think came off of the same African violet. I'm not sure. These two right here, I'm not sure. They're very similar in leaf. I didn't label them when I repotted them from the propagation, so I'm really not sure. Here we have Sporty. Sporty is the baby off of the big one that we saw first. And as you can see, she starts off like this, and then as she ages, she gets a lighter color to her. And then next to her, let's see if we can just zoom around here, we have my Harlequin Princess. Oh my goodness gracious, is she not just gorgeous? Look at that bloom. If I can be still, oh my goodness. Let me turn her around so we can see really pretty ones here. Look at that. Look at the speckling on there. That is just absolutely just gorgeous, just gorgeous. All right, and then back here I have one of the miniatures. This is the pink one. She's just recently come back into bloom, so I should expect some blooms for her for a while. And then the good news is, this is one of my variegated that has not lost the variegation. As you can see, the new leaves, when they're coming out, they do have a lot of green, and then as they grow out, they do keep that pink. And then the other variegated one that I got last month is still keeping her variegation as well. This one, when it bloomed, we named it Poppy, just because it looked like a little poppy bloom. Here I have my white miniature with a little pink tinge to it that is busting with blooms. All right, so let's go and look at the shelf. All right, guys, so I'm back on the chair, so if my voice sounds a little shaky, it's because I'm kind of scared of heights. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but that's not high, but for me it is. But what we are looking at right now, right here, this is the golden pothos that I got in a 4-inch pot from Costa Farms. And it had maybe we'll say 5 leaves on it. It wasn't real bushy, but it was healthy, and it is really, really taken off. Just show you, look at this. Look at all the growth on there. Oh my goodness, it's just absolutely gorgeous. All right, hit it back there. I'm hoping that one day it'll start trailing so I can kind of wrap it around those yucky looking metal poles. And then we have our begonias that were recently split and potted up and doubled in amount. So we have the no ID here. And if you guys know the ID of this one, can you just let me know in the comments down below? The spotting on here is very creamy. It's not a white, it's kind of a creamy color. And the blooms are kind of an off-white with a really, really soft green accent to them. I was trying to see if there was any blooms on this one because I had some on it the other day, but apparently not. All right, and back here we have our Linda Dawn, and then that is the Peperomia, watermelon Peperomia. And then over here we have our pink Mink, and then in front of her we have a My Special Angel. And next to the My Special Angel, we have another pink Mink. And of course, you can tell it's called pink Mink because of the pink spots. Then back there, we have another My Special Angel and another watermelon Peperomia, Linda Dawn, and another no ID. Again, let me see if I can get it really close. Do you see how beautiful that is? Oh my goodness, that is just so pretty. Would like to know the name of that, so if you could just leave them in the comments down below. When I first split them up and repotted them, they did pout a little bit, dropped a couple of leaves, but they all seem to be recovering really well right now. And then we have this one. This is called a creeping fig. It cannot decide if it likes it here or not. I might move it to maybe a different location and see if it does better, because it looks like this for a couple of weeks and then it just starts drying out. And it's not a watering thing because I do keep it watered. Matter of fact, the soil is still moist from when I watered it about a week ago. So I'm not sure if you guys grow this creeping fig and have any suggestions. Can you let me know? Maybe I'm giving it too much light. Maybe it's, you know, too hot up here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll move her, but leave it in the comments down below. And while we're here, let's just go ahead and go on the shelf below and look at our Phalaenopsis. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on them just because I just looked at each one of them and did a video on that. I'll link it up above and in the description so you can go watch that. But we do have a lot of new growth. So our small leaves is working on her new leaf as well as lots of root growth. This one back here, I call it the small harlequin, and it's in recovery mode. You'll notice that some of these have moss on them, and that's just to kind of encourage some root growth. This is one of the 3 rescue no IDs that I got all in one pot. There's the other one, and this is the one that had the wanky leaf, and now it's got another leaf coming out, so she's recovering. And then back here I have my Phalaenopsis violacea, cross back to sibling, who's finishing off this leaf right here. And I did put a little bit of moss back there to encourage her roots to go down into the pot. And then we have the 3rd no ID that came in together that is finishing off this leaf and has some root growth going in there. And here we have pink lip, again a no ID that finished off this leaf and is now working on that and has lots of new root growth. And then we have Iris. Iris has been in bloom, guys, since January, okay? She has been extending this spike since January. I'm letting it continue because she is continuing to do root growth as well as working on this new leaf right here. Back behind her, we have our Phalaenopsis Pure Moon Pixie. That is going to be a big girl, or at least a medium-sized girl. She's not going to be a miniature, that is for sure. I'll probably have to repot her next year because I feel like she's going to be a little small for that pot. Back there in the corner, we have our Phalaenopsis Chainzang Diamond, who is working on that leaf to the left. And then in the front here, I have my DTPS, what is this one? The Winter Clouds Mendenhall that I'm kind of questioning whether it is or not. So I put her on this side because this leaf has started to develop, and I'm trying to light train it to go this way so it doesn't stick out, because where she was, the light was facing this way and I don't want that leaf to be wanky. So I've put her over here, but she is working on new roots as well. So that is great. All right, and then let me get down and then we'll look at the rest of the shelf.